Stay, and I'll give you a sentence that can bankrupt a false guru and save your life. Never let your awakening be collateral for somebody else's marketing. You were promised a horizon, silence like glass, heart like a bell, but the inbox delivered tears, tracts, testimonials. Somebody learned to package bewilderment and call it a pathway, to film your tears and call them social proof, to measure your terror dissolving and call it retention. If you stay, I'll map the pipeline. How raw revelation becomes narrative, narrative becomes content, content becomes a brand asset that lives on the internet even after you wish it would die. This isn't a sermon against money, it's an audit of ownership. Who owns your before and after photo? Who profits when a private rupture, panic laughing into peace, becomes an ad between the 4th and 5th minute of a launch video? Who edits the story so your doubt is cropped, your ambivalence muted, your boundaries rescored in a key called conversion? Brands love mysticism because mystery converts where arguments stall. They love your face even more because faces move units. Spiritual capitalism learned 3 tricks: authority theft, drape a lineage in typography; scarcity theater, doors close Friday, as if emptiness has a cart timer; identity capture, invite you to share your awakening, then license it forever as community inspiration. Your first wow becomes their why us. Your ordinary Tuesday courage becomes a case study with a B-roll of lotus leaves. They'll offer consent forms, dense, warm, generous, whose fine print assigns perpetual rights. Your nervous system's turning point becomes a clip in someone's sizzle reel. The question isn't, can money touch the sacred? It already does. Roofs leak, cooks need pay, servers cost. The question is governance. Does money kneel to truth, or does truth bend to margins? I'll give you diagnostics that bite. Who can revoke? Who gets paid? Who can contradict the founder on camera and keep their job? Who controls the edits when your body remembers something different than the script? I will not take your wonder. I will put seatbelts on it, and I will name the ugly arithmetic every seeker should memorize. Or times opacity equals cult leverage. Reduce opacity, leverage drops, increase receipts. The gods of branding lose their teeth. By the end, you'll keep the light and return the costume. You'll know the difference between transmission and placement, between a vow and a value proposition. You'll keep a private room in your mind that no sponsor can rent. I am not against companies breathing. I am against companies calling your compliance compassion. Breathe, then bargain. Breathe, then escalate. Breathe, then change the calendar. The monastery's gift wasn't calm for capital. It was clarity for courage. If your mindfulness helps profits, but not people, it isn't Dharma. It's sedation with metrics. I'm Silent Flame. Show me the budget or stop saying compassion. The postcard sells liberation, a teacher laughing like rain, a bowl lit like sunrise, words that unclench your jaw. The platform sells repeatability, growth, funnels, CAC, LTV. In the postcard, enlightenment is a scandal to ego. In the platform, enlightenment is a promise you can ship. The mutation happens in the aperture between them. A moment of clarity, private, unstageable, gets stretched into content cadence. Teaser on Tuesday, reel on Thursday, live cue, and a Sunday. Your life becomes programming. There's a choreography. A founder discovers a voice. Early retreats glow. The room is family. Then costs arrive. Venues, staff, lawyers, ads. Storytelling becomes strategy. Testimonials are solicited to help others feel safe, i.e., to reduce friction for funnel entry. Photos become hero images. Doubt becomes shadow work, not to make you free, but to make the brand flexible enough to absorb hesitation into a sale. The platform optimizes what it measures. It can't measure compassion sent after you apologize to your sister. It can measure watch time, comments, opens. So the story shifts: less inarticulate quiet, more punchy revelations, fewer incomplete journeys, more I was stuck until. Edge cases get cropped, ambivalence gets B-rolled, contradictions get filed under advanced. A living Dharma, edgy, inconclusive, hardens into brand coherence because coherence retains. Don't hate the camera, hate opacity. If the channel published the rules, who edits, who gets veto, how revocations work, you'd be free to risk your face without renting your future. Instead, you sign a smile into perpetuity. Years later, after you leave, your younger self still sells a doctrine you outgrew. Try emailing support for a takedown and discover that the platform owns you more gently than any monastery ever dared. Clean platforms exist, scrappy, slow, transparent. They let people speak wrong, change minds on camera, issue retractions. They post receipts. They blur minors by default. They publish failure as proudly as launch. Most don't scale, but Dharma shouldn't. When enlightenment starts hitting quarterly goals, check the product for sedatives. Here's the sentence nobody reads out loud. In consideration of exposure, you grant us a perpetual, irrevocable, sublicensible license. That's how awakenings become libraries of leverage. A consent form that felt like community becomes a rights assignment. We only use this to inspire, means we can cut, score, translate, composite, and run ads against your face in markets you'll never visit. What a clean contract should say: scope, one video, one campaign, 1 year. Revocation, you can pull your story without penalty. The brand must remove archives within 30 days. Compensation, money, not energy exchange, scale by use. Inspiration is not legal tender. Edit rights. You see the cut before release. No synthetic voiceovers, no franken sentences. Context. No pairing your clip with claims you didn't endorse. Minors. Blur by default. Independent advocate present. Escrowed payment. Right to grow up and say stop. Brands that refuse this aren't contagious with truth. They're contagious with control. They will call your caution ego. They will name your boundaries fear. That's how power keeps faces cheap. But a vow that requires your silence about terms is a vow minted for someone else's leverage. Remember also the platform clause. Even if the teacher agrees to pull the video, the platform's TOS may keep a cached copy, mirrors, clips. That's why clean brands build consent prompts into the camera. We record, you can revoke. Here's the URL. That extra sentence is Enlightenment's insurance policy. But exposure helps your book/podcast/business. Maybe it also helps theirs, built upon your unrepeatable, unmonetizable moment of seeing. Enlightenment is a noun too large to trademark, but your story is a small, saleable thing. Protect it like you would a family photo. Share it, yes. Donate it, never. Don't let your first taste of horizon become a stock clip in somebody's hustle montage. The moment your clip lands, The feed begins its catechism. What performs returns, what returns rewrites you. Comments tell you who you are. So serene, so brave, the perfect student. The brand echoes the highest performing version of you back at you until the mask outruns the skin. Now you're hired by your own persona. Your practice quietly pivots from freedom to consistency. You'll feel it as a pressure against truth. On a bad day, saying, "I'm confused again," will cost the room its favorite fable. On a good day, admitting I misled you will dent a funnel. So the mouth learns to keep the arc clean. Insights arrive pre-formatted. Hook, rupture, triumph, moral, CTA. The algorithm loves arcs. Arcs punish unfinished business. Yet awakening is mostly unfinished business done gently in public. The feed calls that low energy. The feed wants closure at speed. Then come the mirrors, duets, stitches, reaction videos. Your face becomes a node in other people's funnels. Praise addicts, critique converts, controversy spikes novelty. You learn to time your confessions to beat the afternoon dip. You become a scheduler for your own soul. Notice the quiet violence. The platform replaces teacher-student accountability with creator-audience dependence. The former has vows, counsels, corrections. The latter has metrics. Metrics can't hold you when your life asks for a U-turn. They can only penalize the dip, and so the brand will prefer your past self, who is reliably moving product, to your present self, who is inconveniently alive. What breaks the spell? Boredom with glamour. Publish the dull things, the repair after harm, the retraction after hype, the missed email you admit and fix. Refuse to keep your conversion rate holy. Find rooms without cameras and let them be where your next step happens. If the only place you feel real is off platform, protect it like a shrine without signage. Algorithms are not evil, they are hungry. Do not feed them with the part of you that must stay unscripted to stay free. Dharma has always used containers, robes, rituals, rules. Those are governors on charisma. They slow the wildfire of personality down to a habitable flame. Branding uses containers too. Fonts, color, tone, tagline. Those are amplifiers. They feed the flame oxygen until everything else is smoke. Both produce coherence. Only one risks contradiction publicly and survives. Transmission is not style. It is accountability moving down a chain. Teacher to student, vows to community, money to ledger, power to process. Licensing, by contrast, moves rights. Franchise the look, script the arc, collect the fee. You can license a logo to a meditation teacher you've never corrected. You cannot transmit a lineage to someone you've never stopped. Brand forward orgs often solve scandal with rebrands. Lineage forward communities solve scandal with councils, confessions, and constraints. Watch which your house prefers when harm surfaces, palette upgrades or policy upgrades. Watch whether the apology routes through legal before it routes through relationship. Logos outlive controversy. Lineages survive it by taking the burn in public. There's a subtler theft, syncretic spackle. A brand cherry picks Zen brevity, Vajrayana blaze, Theravada grit, therapy cadence, startup flair, and sells the method. Cross-pollination can be honest if the debts are named. Spackle is not synthesis. It is erasure with aesthetics. The fix is boring and tender. Cite, pay, bow, and contradict yourself where needed. A map with footnotes doesn't trend. It does, however, protect students from palming tricks as timeless wisdom. If you want a quick field test, ask a leader to name the last time they changed their mind in front of the room. If the best they can do is new logo, same soul, you're in licensing, not lineage. Transmission produces people who can stand on their own spine. Licensing produces affiliates who can repeat the slogan. Brand can be a blessing when it points instead of possesses. Clear copy that routes seekers to books, rooms, elders, design that calms noise, consistency that lowers anxiety. A good brand is a sign you are here. Try this door, expect this cadence. Here's what we don't do. It protects time by saying no in advance to mismatched hopes. It can also keep predators out by publishing process, grievance paths, budget summaries, rotation of power. Brand becomes a curse when it needs your life to be on message. Watch for these shifts from invitation to insistence. Share your story, then share it like this. From reverence to leverage, private experiences recut into launch reels without context. From guidance to gatekeeping, access to the teacher becomes a perk tied to spend tears. From practice to product, breakthroughs scheduled quarterly to juice renewals. Another tell, aesthetic inflation. Costs rise to maintain the vibe. Better cameras, bigger venues, more paid reach. Suddenly the brand needs growth to feed itself. Surprise, growth is hungrier than God. Staff learn to smile through dissonance because the mortgage depends on momentum. That's when truth starts to lose meetings. What to do if you care and you're inside? Make receipts sexy, publish boring things beautifully, how corrections work, how takedowns happen, who edits whom, what consent buys, and what it never will. Place right to revoke in the footer like a jewel. Make We Were Wrong, Here's the Fix, a content series. Slow down launches to match verification speed. Celebrate departures that honor humans more than retention. If this sounds like bad marketing, remember, Dharma is the original bad marketing. It refuses tricks that make the numbers lie. If you insist on telling awakening stories in public, bolt seatbelts to the stage. Consent you can revoke. Plain language forms, 1-year term, auto sunset if not renewed. Public takedown portal, context locks. No recutting your words to sell things you didn't endorse. Synthetic voice clones forbidden. Money is not shameful. If a story moves revenue, the teller gets paid. Publish ranges. Exposure is for film, not people. Minor protections. Blur by default. Third-party advocate. Escrowed funds. Opt out at adulthood without penalties. Corrections with teeth. Link them atop originals. Demonetize harm. Keep the mistake up with a red banner so trust learns how you heal. Lineage literacy. Cite schools and sources on screen. Mark metaphor versus doctrine. Conflict walls. Separate marketing from care. The person who edits your tears cannot also be the one you report harm to. Exit rituals. Public bless and release for departing teachers or students. Remove faces from landing pages within 30 days. Audience, you have power. Reward creators who share documents, not mood. Ask rude questions kindly. Who edits? What's the revocation window? Where's the budget line for repair? If answers arrive as poetry, close the tab. Poets should not run rights libraries without librarians. Spiritual orgs should learn from journalism's ethics pages and non-profits' 9/9s. If your house won't publish its bones, don't donate your story's skin. You get the internet you insist on. Demand scaffolding sturdy enough to hold beauty without secretly harvesting bodies. Here's the distinction that will let you sleep. Brand is the box. Awakening is the flame. Boxes help carry, label, stack. Flames don't live in boxes. They use them and move on. If your enlightenment story can't leave the box without violating a contract, you built a prison with gorgeous art direction. Keep the parts that serve life, words that aim people toward good books and good rooms, design that lowers fear, schedules that respect biology. Refuse the parts that eat life, consent that never ends, edits that confect certainty, metrics that punish honesty. Let your awakening stay messy enough to be yours. Build rooms where it can shrink without shame and grow without applause. 3 adult moves this week. 1. Audit your rights. Find every place your face lives, ask for the policy, request the sunset date. 2. Set your boundary sentence. My story is not a brand asset. Say it before cameras warm. Watch who flinches. 3. Practice a retraction. Write the version of your story that contradicts the launch reel and keep friends who love you more for it. I promised a line that makes exploitative houses blink. Here it is, and I mean it. If your awakening needs a logo to be believed, it isn't awakening. It's advertising. I'm Silent Flame. Return the trademark. Keep the truth.